It's time for
DodgerHeads.
high fly ball into right field. Dodgers have won it all in 2020. Shohei Otani, the 50 club, strikes him out. There's a drive. Shohei Otani. Freeman hits the ball. She is gone. Birthday party, Los Angeles. Your Dodgers have won the World Series.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to DodgerHeads Live, presented by DodgerBlue.com, part of the Medium Large Sports Network. My name is Jeff Spiegel. That is Anthony Witrado. We are armored up, and we are ready for whatever is going to happen in the next 45 to 60 minutes as the Dodgers drop maybe the most painful game, it seems like, in a long time, and that's saying something, as the Dodgers are officially tied for the NL West with the Padres, who continue to win as the Dodgers continue to lose. As the Dodgers drop their sixth consecutive game to the Angels, which I believe is the most they've ever lost in a row to this team. And they just find different ways to win. I mean, every night it feels like, Anthony, you could spin the blame wheel and find somebody else. Tonight, they were a mess in a bunch of different ways, and they lose.
Yeah, you're right about the finding scapegoats. I do think that the one common theme in the last couple of weeks, at least, has been those scapegoats are coming from the same two areas of the team. It's either a lack of timely hitting, which is weird because this team has been great with runners in scoring position for most of the season, or the bigger culprit right now is the bullpen. And anytime the offense does manage to give them a lead, it seems like it's a complete circus to try to hold it. And tonight was no exception.
Yeah, the irony is, and we're going to dive into this, like there's numbers that I could throw at you that says the bullpen wasn't as bad as it felt because, you know, the guys that came in before the last two sort of did their job.
Right.
Kasparius, you could say, probably got put into an unfair situation in the 9th and 10th innings. But ironically, I would say Emmett Sheehan was probably the guy that I would point the finger at first, which is why I say you could spin the wheel because he had 5 earned runs. But again, there's plenty of blame to go around. The Dodgers
and that's tonight, right? Like my bigger point was over the last couple of weeks, the rotation has been the glowing spot of this roster, and it's been some of the other areas that have really faltered, and plenty of blame to go around tonight.
Yeah,
across the board.
2 for 10 with runners in scoring position. Max Muncy 0 for 3. Freddie Freeman, Michael Conforto, Alex Call, Shohei Otani, Andy Pages all 0 for 1. Teoscar Hernandez, both hits, 2 for 2 for Teoscar Hernandez with runners in scoring position. Lots to break down, and I have a feeling the 7 super chats that we've got lined up right now are not going to be the only ones. And you can imagine what some of that said. Bacon Tree, we appreciate the super chat. We're going to avoid putting some bad language up on the screen, but I'll read it. Team is hot, bleeping garbage. I'd like to see Conforto defenders defend him right now. Vesia was garbage tonight. Great urgency from the team, guys. 300. GJW says, strap in, fellas. It's going to be a rough one tonight. This Anthony and I were born for this. All right. We were born for these are the trials that we are forged in, right? What doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. Gracie says WTF, which that's the frick, I believe, is what that last one stands for. That's why we put it up there. Joseph says, I can't believe we didn't trade for a closer and continue to hoard prospects who might help the teams in 2 to 3 years rather than improving the roster now. Also get Conforto off this team. Can you imagine guys defending this Conforto guy? It sounds like he's terrible. J-Rod says, cue the sky is falling vibes. They are cued, J-Rod. Nobody needed to cue them, I don't think. LLM, are y'all going to lie to us about how good the trade deadline was or how Conforto is going to turn it around? Let us hear it, Spiegel. ? Okay, you're going to hear me for the next 45 to 60 minutes. We'll see what happens. We'll see what I decide to say. Tyler says, updated trade deadline grade, D-. I will say I gave them a B-, which, like, that's not very good. I understand if you think it should have been lower, but, like, I didn't give them an A at the trade deadline. I gave them a B-.
A B is above average. That's what that means, right?
Yeah, I joked with somebody today who was trolling me. I'm like, I think it's the difference. I mean, like a B- was a failure in some houses, So it's all beauty's in the eye for the beholder, not yours, not your house as well. Michael says here to make fun of Jeff.
I gave the deadline a C, and
yeah,
I thought the moves that they did make were good, fine, and I thought the value that they got in a vacuum for those deals was really good. Was it enough for what they actually needed? At the moment, it does not look like it.
Yeah. And I think the differentiation you're making is something that I made that a lot of people grabbed onto, is that there's a conversation about value and there's a conversation about the moves they did and did not make combined. And those are two different grades. And I was not thrilled with what they did. Obviously, Brock Stewart goes down today, who is an oft-injured reliever that was their big trade deadline acquisition, while the rest of their guys are not back yet. Kirby Yates, Tanner Scott, Michael Kopech, etc. And so, I think it's fair. I think it's fair to be critical of them. I think it was fair to be critical of them at the time because they were making a bet on some moves that they had already made. And today, of all days, I think it is especially fair to be even more critical of them and of people that were praising the deadline. I don't think we as a whole did. I know Blake gave them a positive grade. Benefit of the doubt for Blake. I think he was talking about the value more so than the moves they did and didn't make. But if you want to criticize a B- and say it should have been a C+, C or C-, fair enough. I'm not going to argue with you on tonight of all nights. Michael says here to make fun of Jeff and chew gum, and you know the rest. So there you go. We appreciate you, Michael. We're glad you're here. $2. Thank you. Danny, Conforto plus Freeland plus Call plus Vesia equal death. I mean, Vesia's been really good. Like, he's had 3 bad outings, but he doesn't belong in the same category as these 3. Can we at least say that, Anthony?
No, he's been one of their bullpen aces for most of the season. It's been a bad week and a half or whatever it is for him right now. So yeah, he does not belong in the same conversation with Conforto, who has been bad for essentially 98% of the season. Yeah.
And look, everybody knows the bit that I've been on with Michael Conforto, and tonight was incredibly, incredibly painful. And as the jokes have gone on, it has not been like the last 3 weeks have been good after we had a positive 3 weeks for Conforto. I'm not like the Ryan Ward conversation, I think, is the interesting one. What I said on social media tonight that I think is worth talking it out is I'm not defending Michael Conforto. Like, when I take off the mask and I remove the bit, I can see the same Michael Conforto that everybody else sees. Did I think he was going to turn it around eventually because of some of the underlying metrics? Yes. Has he? No. Are we at the point in the season where it's foolish to continue holding on to that hope? Absolutely. I think the Dodgers have tried so hard to find somebody else to take that spot. They hoped it would be Outman. They hoped it would be Kim. They hoped it would be Call. They hoped it would be Justin Dean. They hoped it would be Estuary Ruiz. They hoped it would be Dalton Rushing, probably to some degree, and we'll just get creative and figure something out. The problem has been none of those guys have grabbed it. Now, Conforto's been worse than all of them. I think you could safely make the case. And so if today is the day that the Dodgers draw the line in the sand, Anthony, and say, enough is enough, we need to shake things up, and this is the easy culprit, to the surprise of many people in here, I would not be opposed to that. I would not be surprised by it, because on a night like tonight, in a stretch like they are currently in, I think you might need to look in the mirror and say we need to change something up. And he is the obvious, maybe addition by subtraction guy.
Yeah, for sure. It feels like what they're doing, this is how it just feels to me at this point, because he gave him that sort of sense of hope before the deadline for those 5 weeks, whatever it was, 6 weeks maybe, where he wasn't the Conforto we've seen all season. He was like, okay, right? He wasn't good, but he was okay. And then maybe that was the glimmer that they needed to say, you know what, he's going to turn it around. As soon as the deadline is over, he tanks again. And it feels like, for me, like they bought a stock that they were high on and it tanked on them. And now they're like, well, we might as well just hold on to it, because if we get rid of it now, like we're losing the money.
Well, and I can't stress this enough. Nobody grabbed it. Nobody grabbed the spot. Like that's the thing. It wasn't like they had the 300 hitter just sitting on the bench. And I know some people are going to say Ha-Seong Kim, but if you look at what Kim did over like after the first 2.5 weeks that he was up, it was not pretty. Now, are you going to say prettier than Conforto? Probably fair, but nobody grabbed it.
I will say this. I don't think any of those guys had a legitimate shot to take over. Like, I don't think if Kim hit better and played a better center field that he would have been the guy. The one like Ruiz, like I think all of those things were like either stopgaps or guys that they were going to plug out there on occasion. Like Kim, like I don't think they brought up Kim to go like you're going to be a full-time outfielder. The one thing I think could have possibly changed it was a healthy Tommy Edman. And that hasn't happened. So with that said, it's probably past time that they start looking. The deadline's over, so now you have to look internally, right? And those other guys are hurt, and they probably weren't taking over anyway. The Ryan Ward conversation is red hot, amongst Dodger fans, and I understand why. He's not been up for a reason.
Let's hold the Ryan Ward conversation because we're going to get to it. I assure you. But we got a bunch of super chats here, and I want to talk a bit about the game because I think it's fair to get there. Max with the super chat. Sorry, we got no question or comment here. 300 with a $50 super chat. We appreciate you. He says, I see this with all seriousness. We may not make the postseason. Our bullpen is a disaster. Our starters can't get through 6+ consistently. Triple plays, double plays. No left fielder. Can't hit the cutoff men. Just really piss poor. This to me, Anthony, of all the games I watched, and I watched the game where they had 1 million walks and couldn't score any of them the other night. This game more than any other. When Otani hits into that triple play, I'm just like, this is it, huh? This is like, this sums it up. And then the bunt that just stops on the paint. And I'm like, yep, it's just one of those. Like they gave us the Otani home run just to dangle the carrot in front of our face. God. I'm not saying it's over. I'm not saying they're not going to make the playoffs, any of that. I'm just saying, gosh, I hope this is rock bottom, Anthony.
It feels like we've said that 3 or 4 times, since probably like June. And then they keep slapping us in the face, right? I think they're going to make the playoffs. Are they going to win the division? I don't know. My money would, if I had to make a bet, I would still bet on them. For a lot of different factors. But I do think they're going to make the playoffs. They're just in a really bad spot. At this time last year, on August, I think it was 17th, something like that, they were 2 games up on the Padres.
Yeah.
And then going into the last week of the season, they were 2 up on the Padres. And then kind of won the division, kind of going away. But this feels different in terms of like how they're losing games.
Yeah. Why is it just the way that they're losing? Because losses feel crappy no matter how they happen.
Sure.
I can't transport myself back to how I felt a year ago, to your point, when it was, had dwindled to like a 2.5 game lead. What is it about this that makes you feel like something different is happening than the bad stretches they had last year?
I think it's the way they're losing with the bullpen. Like, it feels right now like leads aren't safe. You take a lead into the 9th inning. Tonight was only 1 run, and for them, they might as well be down. It feels like right now. Yeah. But you take a 3-run lead into like the 7th inning, and that should be automatic for them, and it doesn't feel like that right now. The other part of this, I think, is the more obvious is they're playing like a bunch of 8-year-olds at times. Where they're throwing the ball around the field, they're making stupid base running mistakes, just really uncompetitive at bats. That at bat by Páez tonight, where he drew the walk and with the bases loaded, which the result was great. But you would go back and look at that at bat. It was on the verge of being a disastrous at bat, uncompetitive, and he got lucky because the pitcher couldn't find the zone. And so it's stuff like that. It's just ugly, boneheaded ways to lose games and things that should be fixable that they're not fixing.
Yeah. And it's, again, Max Muncy felt like the biggest culprit, 0 for 3 tonight, and that's guy who's been like the best hitter in baseball of late. So 300, we appreciate the huge super chat. Thank you so much. Shelly says, thank you for being here. This game killed me. I'm done with Conforto, and I have supported him. You are not alone on that, Shelly, if my timeline is says anything about it, because I think even the last people holding on for hope may have let go of the sinking ship tonight. 20 says, not getting Duran was a huge mistake. Sickening loss. Yeah, I hear you. Dustin says, can we please acknowledge this is, yes, a very talented team, but a bad baseball team. Even when they were winning, it was ugly. What do you think, Anthony? Is this sort of like hindsight saying even when they were winning, it was ugly? Or do you think this is a fair statement that, yes, the record may have been masking some pretty serious flaws early on?
I think both things are true. I think they've had flaws all season. But like, I think there's some recency bias here. Like when they went through that stretch in, I guess, what was it, June, where they went into that stretch where they played like every team was over 500.
Yeah.
And we went, oh man, if they come out of this at 500, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
Because they weren't playing good baseball then. And they came out like 5 games ahead, something like that.
Yeah.
And they were actually playing pretty well. Like the wins looked like good wins, and the losses were competitive for the most part. So I think some of this is maybe a little bit recency bias, but I think the recency is long enough that it's a thing. It matters.
Yeah, it's fair. Gak says, as a diehard Raider fan, I can relate as well. I am so happy they have trained me to switch off and become apathetic. They just couldn't hurt me after the last 2 games. Well, good. You're in the minority if you couldn't be hurt. Cameron says, please don't sugarcoat it. The division race is over. This team is done. I'd love to hear how this isn't true. I think you'd be fascinated to know. We have an interview that I believe is going to be posting in the morning with Kyle Glazer, who works for Intentional Talk, used to be with Baseball America. He also hosts a Padres territory show, Friar Territory, I believe is what it's called. And I straight up asked him, like, are the Padres better than the Dodgers? And I would just tell you from a Padres person perspective, the answer was not, yes, the Padres are definitely better than the Dodgers, and this division's over. And I don't think it was false humility. I just think he was like, yeah, I think the gap is closed. I think both these teams are good, and I'm not saying the Padres are going to go and win the division. So I just wonder, Anthony, well, as bad as it feels to be a Dodgers fan right now, and I'm telling you, I feel that. Like, I feel that. I tweeted, I said the range of outcomes for tonight's post-game show prior to this game ending was as large as possible. Otani hitting the home run, it's like, oh my gosh, we're going to be free. And then they blow it, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is going to be the worst. Like, we feel this. Anthony and I are here because we feel this as Dodgers fans. We're wearing Dodgers hats. Like, we root for this team, and we care when they win and lose. I do think it's sometimes helpful to step outside of the Dodgers fan bubble and say, well, how does the rest of the league look at us? And I'm just telling you, the rest of the league is not doom and gloom on the Dodgers the way the Dodgers fans are. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say they're not watching as closely as we are. They're not living and dying with how bad the bullpen is. Maybe they see names that aren't as good as they think. Like, these are all fair, but I'm just offering the perspective of Vegas still thinks they're the World Series champs, and Padres fans aren't like celebrating the division title already.
Yeah. Appreciate the super chat. The division race is not over. And the Padres are the better team right now. They're the second hottest team in baseball. So let's think about this. The Dodgers have played pretty bad baseball for 2 months, for the most part, right? Like, they've just been a pretty mid kind of team. Like since it came out of that stretch where they played all those good teams, like since then it's been like just And it's taken the Padres becoming the second hottest team in baseball to tie them in the division.
Yeah.
So all of the Padres are superheroes. Like, where have they been for 4 months? You know what I mean? These last 2 weeks for them have been 2.5 weeks or whatever it is, have been really good. And they caught the Dodgers.
Yeah.
And the Dodgers are in danger of losing the division. Absolutely. To call it over, though, is crazy. It's August 12th tonight.
And I get it. If you're a fan watching this and you've watched the last few days, like, I understand this. This is where I would say what you feel is true and what is actually true are not always the same thing. And as a fan watching your team go through what they've gone through over the last few days, I'm simply offering the idea that maybe, just maybe, what your heart is telling you is true is not entirely 100% accurate. It might end up being true. The Dodgers might lose the division, but it's not because the division race ended today.
And the people saying like that if they have been bad for 2 months, then that's a bad baseball team. And I get that sentiment. What I'm saying is that the team chasing them down isn't just light years better than they are. Because if they have been that bad for that long, the Padres just tonight tied them.
Yeah.
And it took the Padres the Padres weren't like, oh, we've been 7 games over 500. Like it's like they've been, aside from, if the Brewers didn't exist, the baseball world would be talking about how hot the Padres are.
Yeah, it's fair. It's fair. Dodgers have the 6th best record in Major League Baseball right now, tied with the San Diego Padres, as you said. The Mariners, another team that's won like 7 or 8 games in a row. The Mariners are a game behind the Dodgers when it comes to record. So Aaron says, Shohei's mad confused right now. He thought we were the good LA team. Also, this is why I'm not on board with, I want the division to be close so we can play meaningful games late. No, this sucks to watch. I'm with you. That was one thing Kyle's like, it's going to be an exciting end of the season. I'm like, I don't want an exciting end of the season. I want a 6-game divisional lead that's wrapped up midway through September, please. So Hawaiian Kira, Jeff and Anthony versus the chat. Some boxy gloves out there. Look, we're all on the same team here. Like I know some people on Twitter think that we're like these suit and tie reporters over here, when in reality, like, we're wearing Dodger hats. We feel the things that you feel. We do this because we're watching the games because we love the Dodgers. And when the Dodgers win, it's the most meaningful moments. And when the Dodgers lose, we feel the pain as well. And so even if we disagree on, is this the end? Has the sky fallen? Is doom and gloom real and here and in the present? That doesn't mean we're not all sitting on the same side, all pissed because we all had to go watch the same game and we all had to watch our bullpen blow it. We had to watch 2 for 10 with runners in scoring position. We had to watch Emmett Sheehan struggle on a night when it's like the offense finally gives you 6 runs and the pitching staff can't hold it. Like, we all watched that on the same bench, on the same side, facing the same direction, pissed off as much as the other one. So that's why we're in this. I know it might feel like we disagree at times, but we're all in the same place. Max says, I've been hearing and saying we will be fine. Stop overreacting. I'm tired of hearing that. The Dodgers need to wake up top to bottom. Max, we appreciate the super chat. And I agree with this last sentence. The Dodgers do need to wake up. And this feels like, Anthony, tomorrow morning, a story comes out and it's like, hey, closed door meeting in the locker room last night. Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Clayton Kershaw, Miguel Rojas, whoever. Like, this just feels like we've reached the point of Dave has called out some people in the media. Dave has hinted his frustration publicly as well as, I'm sure, privately. It just feels like something needs to happen in order to, like, nudge them out of the rut or the groove that they're in. I don't know if it's a players-only meeting. I don't know if Dave goes and rips some people a new one. I don't know if they cut Conforto tomorrow. I don't know what it is. But the Dodgers need to wake up. I think if there's a sentence that every person in here can stack hands on, the doom and gloomers as well as the optimists, I think we can all stack hands on the Dodgers need to wake up.
Yeah, they're playing bad baseball. It's a bad brand of baseball. Even sometimes when they win, it's ugly. It's sloppy. And look, they won a World Series last year and gloated about it afterward in the wintertime about how the team they beat was so sloppy. Yeah. And they knew that team was going to be sloppy and they took advantage of it. They are that team right now. They're that team, and it's a bad defensive team. They too often are folding in high leverage situations when on the bullpen side, and lately too often they are not hitting in timely spots. And more recently, like, they've left a ton of guys on base, and that was a decent trend in that they were getting those opportunities, because for a couple of weeks there, they weren't even getting those. So it's just been a bad brand of baseball in general, and it needs to change. Now, as far as a closed door meeting, players only meeting, like all that type of stuff, like, you tend to only hear about those things when they work. Those things do happen, and for the most part, you probably don't hear about 85% of them, because bad teams, when they're going bad and they have those meetings, don't magically turn it around after they close the doors and don't let media in for a while and they yell at each other or talk about what's going on, right? Like, it doesn't. That's movie stuff. It's not necessarily real life. the bottom line is they have to execute better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you can't walk the first guy of an inning when you come into the game in the 9th inning.
Right.
Stuff like that.
Right, and that's the tricky part, right? Like Max Muncy didn't go 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position because he didn't care enough. Like
Right.
Alex Vesia didn't walk 3 guys tonight because he didn't care enough. I don't know. Those aren't things that like physically you can just tap somebody and fix it. And yet it does feel like there's some sort of focus. There's some sort of like awareness of the moment, of the present time, of reality all around them that seems to be missing. I don't know how to put my finger on it. So, David, I'm so depressed. I don't even want to go to the Lamplighter tomorrow night. David, that food, I mean, as long as it's not tripe, I think you're going to be all right. Although
we're
Anthony's
do a wellness check, because if he's too depressed to go to the Lamplighter, there's something's bad. Something's
bad. Cordana says, trying to be positive through the stretch. It's hard not to be negative losing to the Angels. Tied for first, play the Padres next series. Look, optimistic, glass half full, glass 2/3 full, Jeff, over here. Just imagine if we can go take a couple off the Padres next week and all's right in the world, okay? Who knows? Maybe we're sitting here 7 days from now, and that's our reality. 20 says, Yates and Scott, not exactly the cavalry saving us. Yates, I agree with you. Look, Tanner Scott, when he's right, is one of the best relief pitchers in Major League Baseball. Michael Kopech is a back-end guy. Like, the cavalry could be coming. I'm not saying they are coming. I'm just saying the rotation is getting healthy, and there are some real impact guys that are there, that are due back at some point. Whether they actually come back or not remains to be seen. Casey wants to know, Anthony, what's your confidence level on us making the playoffs right now? Not winning the division, just making the playoffs.
Yeah. You can't never say 100% on any of this stuff, but as close to that as you can get, that they'll make the playoffs. Yeah, I believe they'll make the playoffs. Are they going to win the division? That I don't know. I don't know that. I can't say that for sure. Again, if you had to say, like, you got to make a call now, I think they're going to win the division. I think that the most important part of this is starting rotation, and I think their rotation is better than San Diego's. So that would make me lean that way. But yeah, they're not playing good baseball right now. They're just not.
Yeah. Fangraphs, for what it's worth, have them at a 99.3% chance to make the playoffs. And this is the number that will shock you, Anthony. What do you think their percentage odds to win the division? This is updated, tied with the Padres right now. Odds to win the division for the Dodgers. What do you think they are?
86%.
71%. Fangraph says chances of the Dodgers winning the division. So again, people are going to hate that. I would not go 99 point whatever number they just told us for make the playoffs. I would not go 77%. But like, again, if you're down on the Dodgers, like, I'm serious. If you live in California, apologies, and you can place a wager on the Padres to win the division, like, I guarantee you're going to like the odds you get. Because right now the Padres are probably close to 2-1 would be my guess to go out and win the NL West. And the way that people are talking, they would assume that's like minus 400 or something like that. Dodgers, by the way, 5.5 game lead on the last wild card spot right now.
I was just going to call that out. Looks like the Cubs are 6 games back of the last playoff spot, maybe.
The Cubs are leading the wild card, tied with the Dodgers and Padres. Then the Mets are the last wild card in right now, and the Reds are 2 games out of the wild card.
The Padres lead the wild card, followed by the Braves and then the Mets. Are we looking at the right thing? Am I reading it wrong?
I've got Padres, Dodgers, and Cubs all tied. Basically, the Cubs have a slightly higher winning percentage, having 1 less win and 1 less loss, but they're all plus 3.5 in the wild card. So I'm sorry, you're right. It's 3.5 games over the Mets. The Mets are 2 games over the Reds. I believe that's right. I'm on MLB.com.
Okay. So essentially,
they have a 5.5 game lead on the playoffs right now.
That's where I was going with this. So I don't think they're dropping 6 games to one of those teams in the next 6 weeks.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if we can get some NL West odds. Yeah, I mean, I undersold it. Plus 250 on the Padres to win the division right now. So, Dodger fans, I'm just telling you there's an investment opportunity out there for you. You can take your doom and gloom. You can take your frustration. And that's an emotional hedge if I've ever heard of one. Just plus 250 on the Padres. Not going to say I'm above that. Okay. Jay says SD into house. Let's go. Thank you for the super chat. We're going to take your $2 plus $2.50 on the Padres. That might be a $5 super chat if things go sideways. And if not, hey, we win. The Dodgers win the division. LLM, has Friedman had the worst 9 months of any GM? Offseason signings, hot garbage, punted the trade deadline. That's a take. That's a take.
Let me. This is a lot
so
of.
So just to recap real quick, to set the stage for what you're going to say. So they go and sign Blake Snell, who has been hurt. They signed Tanner Scott, who has been not good and hurt. Kirby Yates has been bad. Conforto has been bad. Roki Sasaki has been bad. I believe that's the offseason. And then obviously you've got the trade deadline. So.
And except for Conforto, every one of those signings, when it happened, when they were announced, was met with adulation and praise and celebration by Dodger fans. You don't know, you can't predict injuries. And I guarantee you, even if they thought, oh, okay, so-and-so might have some regression, they didn't think Kirby Yates was going to look like this. You Jeff, you did a bullpen show today on trying to predict a postseason bullpen roster, and you didn't even have Yates on it. No one was going to predict that when they signed him. You know what I mean? So I think right now it's a lot of revisionist history because those signings in the wintertime, again, with the exception of Conforto, because it was just okay, whatever, were all praised.
Yeah, but I think it's fair to say, sure, it's praised, but that doesn't change the fact that all of the guys he signed, to the person who's asking this question would say, that's great, you might be right, and maybe we were all terribly wrong 9 months ago when he made these signings. I'm not saying this because I think Snell's going to be fine. I think Tanner Scott's going to be fine. Conforto's a lost cause. Again, I think Kirby Yates is going to be off of the roster. I think Roki Sasaki, they paid nothing for him, and it's a long-term play anyway. So I think if Snell and Scott figure things out, which I think is the likely scenario, then we're not going to be saying this. But to the question, it doesn't matter what these things were met with 9 months ago. What matters is that they haven't produced.
But to call it, though, the worst 9 months of any GM, though, that you do have to consider. You can't only take results into effect.
See, yeah, I would disagree. I think it's a results-oriented business. Just because
it totally is, but it's also in baseball, process is. I mean, you hung on to Conforto for a long time because of the other numbers, not the results.
Right, and I was wrong.
No, totally, you were wrong. And look, it could be that Tanner Scott's never good for this team ever again, and then that's going to be a bad signing. But it doesn't if Shohei Otani was just okay, an all-star level player last year, didn't win the MVP, didn't go 50-50. Is that a bad signing and they don't win the World Series?
But we're not talking about guys who have been, we've been talking about guys who are all injured or bad.
But what I'm saying, my point is you can do this with literally every player signed by every single team at the end of the season and go, that was a terrible move by that GM because that guy had a bad year.
Can you?
Yeah, you can. Absolutely. It's exactly what we're doing now.
But these guys have all been bad or hurt.
I know that. What I'm saying is you can then take any signing on any team, and when that player didn't produce up to expectations, you go, that GM that was a terrible move.
Yeah, if they don't live up to expectations, but that would make it a bad signing. Teoscar Hernandez extension, by the way, another signing.
We'll agree to disagree here because I think that it's not over yet.
I agree with you on that piece. Now, I'm just saying we can't talk about how it was praised at the time.
Here's the thing. This is why I think this is stupid, is that if you said in the wintertime, they got a chance to sign Tanner Scott, he will sign there if they offer him this much, would you do it? Almost everybody would have said, do that.
Correct.
Now, that's different than going into the trade deadline and going, they need a back-end reliever, they need an outfielder, they need this, they need that. We all know they need that, and then they go and get none of those things. That would be that, then I think is in fair play.
Yeah, I'm just saying if you pay Tanner Scott and he ends up sucking and never is better than Conforto's a bad signing, period. There's no going back and revisionist history. As much as I had high expectations, I don't care about expectations right now. I care about the fact that he's hitting 170 something, I think. So, okay. Noah, it's time to admit it. There's nothing this team is showing that tells us they're competing in the postseason. Second round exits at best. Hawaiian Kira, Dodgers setting up Padres series to be the NLDS, NLCS, and World Series. Don't know if I can mentally and physically handle these two series. They're going to be, not to mention, the first inside pitch or the first pitch that hits somebody. You want to talk about anxiety in the room and some tightness. Joshua said Shohei going to go 5 no-hit with 10 Ks, hit 2 grand slams, and we're still going to get swept somehow. Look, if he does that, I'll be impressed. I'll be impressed if he can do that and still lose. The triple play was like the stupidest thing I've ever seen. I mean, he ropes the ball up the middle, and I saw people on Twitter that were like, Shohei's not clutch. It's unbelievable. It's fantastic what people do. Donnie Hollywood says, this feels like rock bottom. Conforto will find a basement. I tweeted and people didn't like it. When he came up with the bases loaded, all I could think to myself, Anthony, was Michael Conforto has a chance to do the funniest thing in the history of the world right now. He didn't do it. He what did he do? Pop out? Or I don't think he struck out, but I think he popped out maybe or grounded. Oh, he grounded out. Whatever he did. Like, can you imagine if he had roped a ball into right center field and a 3-run double and all of a sudden vibes are high again? It would have been the funniest. Nobody on the internet would have known what to do with themselves. Again, 0% chance it was going to happen. It didn't happen. I just thought to myself, I don't know. Am I crazy for thinking that? Am I a weirdo? People think I'm a weirdo.
Yeah, I don't think the reaction would have been quite that. They'd have been happy for that particular
play. My gosh. You're no way. People would not have been happy for Conforto?
No. They still would have came on here and be like, yeah, but he still sucks.
Right. Okay.
He got that hit, but he still sucks.
Yeah. It would have been hilarious because people had the tweets queued and they got to fire them all off. So good for them. Laura said, getting ready for the hanging their head nightly interviews. This is not rock bottom. Look, I guess optimistic Jeff tonight is this is rock bottom. That's the most depressing optimistic take in the history of the world is maybe this is the bottom, but I'm alone. Hawaiian Kira, Anthony, are we just being greedy with the Dodgers and our frustration with this team?
No, not anymore. I think it's fair. I think that a month ago, because people were still doom and gloom and they had a 6-game lead and a 7-game lead. And, so we were still getting a lot of those kind of comments on social media and even in the chat at times. I think that we've been pretty privileged and spoiled by this team over the last 15 years. And so I think there's part of that built into it, but this is not a good team currently. And they are playing a bad kind of baseball.
Yeah.
And I think no matter what city you're in, if they're losing games like this, that team deserves heat.
Yeah, it's fair. J-Rod, I was planning to attend the Padres game Friday. Now I'm having second thoughts. Why get stuck in traffic and be pissed off after the game? Is there traffic around your house? Because if you go, they're going to win, J-Rod, and you're going to be fired up and you're going to be thrilled that you were there, So I don't know what we're talking about here, baby. Optimism. Believe it. Dodgers are going to win. Aaron says, it's weird we're in a better situation than last year. The team is getting healthy compared to hurt, but we are playing worse. It's an interesting point. You can make a case that the postseason outlook on August 12th is actually better today than it was 12 months ago, because at least today you can cross your fingers and hope that a lot of these guys are going to stay or get back to healthy. There really isn't a major person that we've crossed off the list as not available. I mean, Tony Gonsolin, basically Evan Phillips, I guess, is the best guy that has been crossed off of the list, and he hasn't pitched essentially all season. So it is an interesting point by Aaron here, Anthony.
It's true. We talked about this, I think, in one of our text chats about, or maybe it was me and Matt were talking about it on the Sunday show. I don't remember, but yeah, we did sort of say it's interesting that they are in a place that's much better from a injury standpoint, where last year at this time they just got hit by a barrage of injuries and you went, oh man, how are they going to survive in October? And I think right now we're asking that same question, but I think the context is a lot different. And I think in 4 weeks this could look like a very different club than it does today.
Yeah. Dave Roberts quote that I'm sure people will be thrilled about. Quote, now it's a new season. You look at the standings. We've just got to play better baseball and find ways to win games. So there you go. Wise words from Dave Roberts. Play better baseball and win games. TQT, Friedman's my hero. He deserves some blame here. Look, I think Friedman is the best in the world at his job. And yet, I think as we don't need to rehash the argument. I think it's hard to be pleased and thrilled with the guys' performances so far.
Totally.
I think that's one thing we can agree on. Laura says, Dodgers deserve it all for the Yankee trash talk. Dodgers can't get out of their own way. Karma. Nick, Conforto should get DFA chance this weekend. Yeah, if he makes it to the weekend, he might hear some DFA chance. We'll see. Cameron, I couldn't help but notice how you guys left out the trade deadline when it came to the Padres. Look, the Padres went for it. Again, interesting conversation with Kyle Glazer that'll post tomorrow. I encourage you to listen to it. But yeah, the Padres traded a top 5 to 10 prospect in baseball for Mason Miller, and so far they've been winning a bunch of games. So kudos to the Padres. I don't know what more we can say. They went for it.
Yeah, I don't know how we left them out. They weren't a topic of the conversation, and we have said like they won the deadline. They've also won it 3 of the last 4 years, and they don't have a ring.
Yep. Ram Lakers, I'm ready to end the Conforto project. $17 million to be the worst hitter in baseball. The Tanner Scott signing doesn't look much better either. It looks a lot better than the Conforto one.
It looks a lot better than let's be realistic.
We're not saying it looks amazing, but it looks better than
Conforto.
Conforto.
It's not great, but it looks a lot better than Conforto.
Dodgers front office shocked that its new pitcher acquisition, Joey missing UCL, Mick always injured, is injured. Unlucky. Who could have predicted if you missed Brock Stewart? Shoulder inflammation. I tweeted, is it going to be shoulder inflammation or forearm soreness? The answer was shoulder inflammation for Brock Stewart. The good news, the Dodgers claim they have caught it early. He has been feeling sore for 4 days. He is going for imaging. That was my favorite thing, Anthony, was that no, we caught it early. We expect him back soon. He's going for imaging so we can find out exactly what's wrong. It's like those two things feel like contradictory statements. So welcome to a Dodgers health update.
The playoffs, I'll be surprised.
You'll be surprised?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know sort of the consensus of media availability today was like, it's going to be a quick thing. They said the same thing about Evan Phillips and Michael Kopech too.
Yeah. Hey, they were right about Max Muncy though.
They were right. Here's the weird thing is when the Muncy thing happened at first, they were like you could tell the panic was on their face. Like, we just lost this guy for the season.
Totally.
And then that's the guy who comes back early.
It's crazy. Jose Ayala says, officially saying a lot of us are in panic mode.
For agree. Sure. A lot of people have been in panic mode for like 2 months.
I know. LLM, this team smells like a first round exit. Is that NLDS exit or wild card exit? Which one? Just out of curiosity. Not that it matters. 300, that's a garbage take. Friedman could have done more at the deadline, but he's an elite GM and president. I think we agree. Friedman is definitely elite. And anybody who calls him Fraudman to me is like, that's the single greatest sign of ignorance amongst Dodger fans.
It also makes me wonder if those fans were fans before Guggenheim took over this team. Because if you remember what it looked like before that, pretty bad.
Rod with the $10 super chat. We appreciate. I do not believe there is any way the Dodgers fail to make it into the 12-team playoff. If they're healthy in October, they have a chance to repeat as World Series champs. Lighten up, fellow Dodgers fans. I think this is kind of where I'm at ultimately, which is I think there's a high likelihood, 90+% that they are going to make the playoffs. And if they make the playoffs with some semblance of health, right? If they've got Snell, Glasnow, Yamamoto, Otani, if they've got Otani the hitter, Freddie Freeman the hitter, like I'm just going to feel good about that group. I'm just going to feel good. The season is going to start over. It's going to be shorter series, and they're going to have been there before. They're going to have done it before. So again, I know that's not fun to talk about on August 12th and feeling the things that we're all feeling right now.
Yeah.
But I think if there's a light at the end of the tunnel, it's if this team gets there and if this team's healthy, 2 massive ifs, then all of a sudden we're going to feel a lot better, I think, in that moment than we do right now.
Yeah, the bullpen is a massive question mark right now. But if considering from a health standpoint, if the lineup and the rotation look like they look right now, just in terms of health, I'm not talking about production, because I think if they're all healthy, guys will start to come around a little bit better, mostly in the lineup. I think they still go in as one of the best rosters in baseball when the playoffs start. And especially with that 4-man rotation where you got 4 guys who are all front-end starters. The playoffs is about starting pitching for the most part. Like it generally always comes down to that. Whether it's bad or good. Like if it's bad, you're probably going to get eliminated. And so given what they line up there, I like their chances if they get in there healthy.
Dodgers still the favorites, plus 350 to go win the World Series. The Phillies are second at plus 550, and the next four teams are tied. The Mariners, the Brewers, the Astros, and the Tigers at 9-1. Blue Jays 10-1, Yankees 11-1, Padres at 12-1 to win the World Series. So, for what it's worth, again, I understand all of the frustration today. I would ask if you woke up, even if it's the wild card series, and Snell, Glasnow, Yamamoto, Otani are all healthy, and Freddie Freeman's healthy, and Tanner Scott is back. Like, are you telling me you're not going to feel good in that moment? Like, you're not going to have some optimism and hope about how that postseason is going to play out for the Dodgers? Maybe they don't get there healthy, but right now they are healthy, and so it's possible. It's at least in play.
Yeah.
Laker Toby with the super chat. A bases loaded strikeout. Conforto, a $17 million mistake. I would let Dean play every day over him. I don't think you're in the minority there.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people feel that way, but Dean, they did not bring Dean up to play.
Well, let's have the Ryan Ward conversation because we were going to have this earlier. For those unfamiliar, Ryan Ward is a career minor leaguer the Dodgers have down in AAA who has been absolutely smashing the ball. He's got like a 950 OPS. He's a corner outfielder. Let me rephrase that. He's probably a 5'10" first baseman that is playing corner outfielder. He's really bad defensively. He has really good numbers in a very hitter-friendly league in AAA. And I think you could paint the optimistic picture, Anthony, which is he cannot possibly be worse than what they are currently trotting out there. At least give him a chance, at least see what happens. The offensive profile is better than a James Outman type who had a lot of swing and miss. That's the optimistic view. The pessimistic view is, yes, he has good offensive numbers. They are worse offensive numbers than all the guys who have come up from AAA and already struggled this season, a la James Outman, Dalton Rushing. I don't know how exactly his numbers compare to Freeland, but you get the point. He's terrible defensively, and maybe, just maybe, the really smart Dodgers front office has a reason for why he's down there. And maybe, just maybe, there's a reason every other team in the league passed on adding Ryan Ward in the Rule 5 draft for free last year. So the optimistic side is it can't be worse, and maybe this guy is just sitting down there ready for his chance. The pessimistic side is don't believe any AAA numbers and believe what the Dodgers and every GM in the league has told you about this guy. Where do you stand?
Yeah, it can absolutely be worse, which is probably stunning and hard to believe, considering what we've seen with Conforto, but it can be worse. I think the Dodgers as an organization do not believe in Ryan Ward as a major league player.
Yeah.
Not only do the Dodgers not think that, or else he would have been up already, because Conforto's been bad for a while, and they've cycled through a bunch of guys to at least, play some in the outfield. And I don't think they brought anybody up that was like, let's see if this guy can take his job. If someone walked into that, then cool. But I don't think that was ever the expectation for like Ruiz or, any of those guys, Dean. So with all that said, 29 other teams could have had Ryan Ward for free through the Rule 5 draft. Nobody wanted him.
Yeah.
They also could have asked for him at the trade deadline. Boston could have in the Dustin May trade, right? All these teams could have been like, that guy's hitting at OKC. How about you tack him on? Yeah. No one was doing that. No one cared. So what that tells me is that they see something there, and these guys are smarter about this stuff than we are. They see something there that makes them believe that he is not going to succeed. With that said, I think they're at their wits' end with what's happening in left field, and they might as well take a flyer at this point.
Yeah, I'm with you. Looking at, golly, so many ads on this OKC website. So, 956 OPS for Ryan Ward this season is 14 points worse than James Outman. James Outman had 10-point worse batting average, 10-point worse on-base percentage, and a 25-point better slugging percentage than Ryan Ward. For context, Outman had 20 homers in 70 games. Ward has 28 homers in 110 games. Estuary Ruiz was hitting 880 OPS. So again, some of these numbers are inflated, but to the people who say give him a chance, I'm all for good stories. I'm all for a guy that hasn't gotten his chance yet at the age of 27 getting his shot. I'm just cautioning people. My fear is that if he does come up, that there are going to be such unrealistic expectations placed on him that he is supposed to come up and start hitting like 2024 Teoscar Hernandez right from the get-go, because he hit like 2024 Teoscar Hernandez in Oklahoma City against AAA pitching in like an absolutely hitter-friendly league. That would be my fear for him. I would disagree that maybe it can't get totally worse than what we've seen from Conforto, but I definitely think just as bad is like firmly in play among the likeliest outcomes.
And quite potentially worse defensively.
Oh, here we go. 300 says, what about this? I'd rather them take a flyer on Verdugo. You ready for that, Anthony?
No.
Doogie. Love that. Love that. 20 says, never will be happy for Conforto. Get him off my team. Lori, about Conforto, I just want to talk to him. There you go. Gabriel Fernandez, horrible stretch. I like this positive. Lo-Fi Jedi, they will get hot right before the playoffs. Save this. I hope so. Aaron says, the Dodgers are in tough shape when I'm counting down the days to Lakers basketball. I bet Anthony is pseudo with you, at least 50% counting down the days.
I'm counting them anyway. But I still think if they get this team into October with some health,
just get to the dance floor, baby.
Tim,
the Brewers are ruining baseball. How can teams like the Dodgers complete? By the way, is there a role for Roki in the bullpen this year? Dave was asked about Roki potentially being a bullpen option and basically said, no, he's going to be a starter. We need some depth in the rotation in case somebody goes down. He basically said Robleski has essentially been converted to a reliever and shortened up, so Roki would give them some depth in length. I believe it was Daniel on our show that we posted this morning breaking down the bullpen who made the point they're not going to stretch Roki out to be a starter in the middle of August and then condense him back down at the end of September to be a reliever. I think build him up to be a starter and play the long 5, 6, 7-year game with Roki Sasaki would be my guess. You agree with that, Anthony?
I agree with that. Yep.
Jonathan, it's hard to repeat. Last time was 2000. We have the best farm, Shohei, and money to bail out his Andrew Friedman's love for injured pitchers. We're going to be okay long-term. Absolutely agree with that. Let's get to some post-game quotes here. Let's start with Emmett Sheehan, who has struggled of late. He was asked what's been missing. He said, I think there were some sequencing mistakes from me today, and the execution wasn't good. I need to clean that up, especially in the first inning when we get a lead. That can't happen. He was asked then, are there any specific at-bats you look at where you didn't sequence or attack the way you wanted? This all coming via Matthew Moreno, by the way, who was in the stadium reporting for us. He said, yeah, I've got to go back and look. Getting ahead of guys, I didn't do that enough. Got to learn from it. Then was asked last, frustrating for them to not be able to generate momentum or winning streak. Yeah, I was excited to try and go out there and put us in a position to win. I didn't do that. The guys picked me up. I didn't do my job. Here's some Alex Vesia quotes as well from Matt. Asked about what's missing for him right now. Tonight was by far one of the worst outings of the year. Super frustrating. I'm kind of at a loss for words, but I know the fastball was just too high tonight. I was focusing on getting it in the strike zone and going and attacking guys. Tonight is on me. I've got to be better. He was asked about feeling pressure with the save opportunities given the struggles. The home run was great. I felt really good going into it and spiraled. Walks will kill you. Asked if fatigue and pitching a lot is messing him up. It's normal. I'm used to it. I wouldn't say I'm fatigued or anything like that. Got to flush this one. We have another one tomorrow. And then lastly, asked, do the Dodgers feel any pressure or frustration with all these losses in a tight NL West race? Quote, people are going to love this, Anthony. People are going to love this. I'm just trying to take it one game at a time. I think it's the easiest way we can do it. Like I said, we have another one tomorrow. My focus will be on that. Could he have said anything in that last quote that people will be more frustrated with than one game at a time? We have another one tomorrow. I'm just focused on that one.
Oh, boy. No.
It's brutal. It's brutal. Again, if you missed this one, the Dodgers, it seemed like, had every opportunity to take this one. They lose 7-6 to the Angels, despite taking a lead. In the first inning, they go up 1-0 in the first. Sheehan gives it right back and gives up 3 runs in the bottom of the first. They tie it in the second. We didn't even talk about Dalton Rushing hitting his first real home run off a actual pitcher, although it was a guy making his starting debut on 3 days rest. But neither here nor there. They tie it in the second. Sheehan gives up another run in the third on a Taylor Ward home run, another run in the fourth to make it 5-3. The Dodgers, though, tie the game in the fifth, make it 5-5 when Pages walks to score a run with the bases loaded before Conforto struck out. That's right. Top of the sixth, first and second, nobody out for the Dodgers. Shohei Otani hits into a triple play. That was a new one that I hadn't seen in a long time. Top of the ninth, though, 5-5 game. Kenley Jansen coming in, 21 straight scoreless appearances for him. Shohei Otani, holy laser and pimp job, 6-5 on the Otani home run. Has now homered in 4 straight games and 5 of his last 6 to give the Dodgers a lead going into the bottom of the ninth. Vesia is there, a guy I trust, Anthony. It's a night game. It's not a day game. And then it's a leadoff single, a walk, a bunt, a walk, a sac fly, a walk. Ben Kasparius. Look, this game, let's be honest, should have been over in the bottom of the ninth because ball 4 was thrown to Taylor Ward and called strike 1, and then Kasparius gets out of it. Didn't matter. Top of the 10th, ghost runner on second, strikeout, fly out, pop out, and then the bottom of the 10th, a bunt that stops on the line and a chopper that goes right over Max Muncy's head to finish this one off. Dodgers lose 7-6 to the Angels. Again, they're 6 straight against the Angels. They are now tied with the Padres in the NL West. David, you can make big money in Vegas betting on the Dodgers losing the lead late. So there you go. You can maybe, it sounds like, also make money betting on the Padres to win things because Vegas currently does not believe in them as much as Dodger fans do. Some more quotes. Let's talk to Dalton Rushing via Matthew Moreno. Asked about the awkward landing at first base during the triple play, excuse me. I'm good. I banged my head a little bit. I think it was more frustration than anything. I'm doing fine. I'm good to go tomorrow. Corrects himself. Whenever my next game is. Hint, not tomorrow. Just a tough situation. Asked about the success the Angels had against Emmett Sheehan. There could have been times I was a little predictable with pitch calling. So interesting there that Sheehan and Rushing both talking about sequencing. Again, sequencing is the catcher's deal, not Emmett Sheehan's. He said, I wouldn't say Emmett's stuff looked any different than before. He's had a lot of success since being up here. Where this one, they got the best of us. They were ready to hit. At times they were ready. They were ready to hit. At times they were supposed to be ready to hit. Asked specifically any at-bats in particular where the pitch calling got predictable. He said, I wouldn't use the word predictable. I would say they were ready to hit when they got in the box, and that was a little bit of a flip from the last time we saw them. They jumped on the right pitches, put good swings on the ball. Sadly, that's the game we play. Sometimes you get exposed, whether it's a good one or a good hitter or a bad hitter, doesn't really matter. And then lastly, asked about Dodger pitchers falling behind counts. It's baseball. Every team is going to go through this. Every staff is going to go through this. Every offense, whatever aspect you want to look at it from, everyone is going to go through it. Sadly, we are wearing it right now, but we know what we have to do to be ready to play in October. I think tomorrow is step 1 towards getting back on the right track to being ready to compete in the playoffs. The question here, of course, is tomorrow the first step, Anthony, or is it one more step further into the abyss?
Yeah. I think he's defending his guy a little bit there, because even if you thought sequencing could have been better with the pitches, location matters.
Yeah.
And some of those were just left in places that it's going to be bad news if you leave them there. And so all the context considered, how the team has been playing, the fact that they staked into 2 leads early, just kind of all of this stuff, and him being looked at as maybe one of the guys that can be a legitimate contributor in the bullpen come October. What a bad start for Sheehan.
Yeah. Yeah. It was not, and again, we started with this from the top. I know there's going to be a lot of fingers pointed at the bullpen because of how bad Vesia looked. And I know there's going to be a lot of fingers pointed at the offense because they're 2 for 10 with runners in scoring position. But look, when the offense scores 6 runs in 9 innings, and when the bullpen, ultimately, it's 1 earned run over the last 4. Obviously, Kasparius both bails them out in the 9th and then gets no outs in the 10th before blowing it. But the person that deserves the most blame is Emmett Sheehan in this game. He gave up 5 runs. Like, we're here talking about, hey, the offense scored 6. Well, when your starter gives up 5, 6 no longer is enough. And so I'm not ready to crap all over Emmett Sheehan. He has a 3.86 ERA. I have him in my bullpen. I still think he's going to be good. But if we have to play the blame game in losses, and I think it's fair at points, Sheehan is the guy that I would point at tonight. Vesia was bad. Vesia and Sheehan equally deserve the blame in this one because Vesia blew a lead in the 9th inning. That's on him. But it's those 2 guys, right? Like, Dreyer was fine. It's too bad we're not even talking about Edgardo Enriquez because he was nasty. All the metrics on his pitches and whatever they've been working on down in AAA, like, that thing's moving in directions nobody saw coming at 102 miles an hour. Like, Treinen, not the prettiest thing in the world, but a scoreless, hitless inning with 2 strikeouts for him. So I do think there are small positives. Rushing hits the home run, but Sheehan and Vesia and their struggles, I think, unfortunately, overwhelms the rest in a 7-6 loss.
Yeah, totally. This one is on him.
Yeah.
In terms of like who did the most damage to lead to a loss. You know, the Vesia had a lead in the 9th inning, so he's going to get a decent chunk of that. But yeah, it's Sheehan. Like they gave him 2 leads, and you score that many runs as a Dodger, like as this roster, you should win the game. And the fact that you know, he just didn't look good. He didn't look good. That was a frustrating part, because I think you look at him as like a future piece, and like this one starts not, you know, doesn't mean long term he's bad, but it would have been nice to see him go out and sort of be a stopper. And
especially with the 1-0 lead, especially when he gives up the 3 and then they come back to tie it. It's like, dude, they have handed you 2 golden opportunities. The Dodgers were going up against the guy, Medeiros. He was making his first career start, and he threw 52 pitches on Friday. He was on 3 days rest making his first career start, and Emmett Sheehan basically went toe-to-toe with him, which is not good enough. So Ram, Lake, Gers. So we got Rams, Lakers, and Dodgers. I like that. Says, with the bullpen so banged up, tired, and ineffective, is there a chance we go starters in the bullpen in the postseason, i.e. Kershaw, Sasaki, and Sheehan? Anthony teased it earlier. I will plug it. We did a 40-minute breakdown of the Dodgers bullpen this morning. Myself, Blake Williams, and Daniel Starkin. I will say that was before Brock Stewart got injured. It was before Alex Vesia blew the lead tonight, et cetera, et cetera. Before Edgardo Enriquez, by the way, came up and looked the way that he looked. But I'm curious, Anthony, your perspective, because we broke there's like 28 guys technically who are in the mix. Some are injured, some are off the radar. But of the 28 guys, we broke the 9 or 10 we picked into locks. Guys we're confident will be on the team, and then just in and just out. I believe we finished with Tanner Scott, Blake Trinan, Alex Vesia, Jack Dreyer, and Brock Stewart, which ironic were the 5 locks we felt like. And then we had Ben Kasparius in the confident category. Those were the 6 we felt best about. And then there was a debate about Sheehan, about Kershaw, about all the rest of these guys, Kirby, Yates. So what do you make of how the Dodgers might navigate the bullpen moving forward?
Yeah, I think, to answer the question, that there probably will definitely be at least one starter in the bullpen. Who that is, I think it's probably between Kershaw, Sheehan,
Robleski.
If you consider Robleski a starter still, like then he's in that mix as well. But yeah, I think at least one of those guys ends up there. For me, in a short series, I would take the 4-man rotation and maybe put Sheehan in there.
Okay.
And maybe try to keep an extra position player in that series. Then beyond that, I think I add Kershaw to the rotation.
Yeah. Robleski's the guy that I would just sort of have people keep an eye on, because I know like Bonda was a name that on Blake's list at least was ahead of Robleski. And I would just suggest that if you take the names away and you just look at the numbers, which is not entirely fair, there's not really much of a case to be made for Bonda over Robleski in any category. Strikeouts, walks, hard hit rate, whiff rate, any of those numbers. There's a lot of promising stuff for Robleski.
Overall for the year, you're definitely right. I think lately Bonda's been a lot better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say Robleski is definitely in play for me. Like if I were making these calls, like he's absolutely in play.
Agreed. The runner on second, the same people that want Ward will want him DFA'd as well. So yeah, I mean, look, potentially, definitely in the pie of potential outcomes there for sure. All right, we got a couple minutes left. Let's go out on this, Anthony. There's a gentleman by the name of Shohei Otani who pitches against the Angels. How are we feeling about this? His return to Anaheim, he's pitching. He was dominant his last time out. The Dodgers are in a losing streak, 6 straight to the Angels. A bunch. What is it? Are we up to 3 in a row now, I think, in this losing streak for the current Dodgers?
Yes.
What do you make of Shohei Otani, and what are you expecting from him in this game?
I think he continues to look good. He really hasn't looked bad. He's battled some command issues here and there. I think in a couple of starts. One of those was that game. I think it was in St. Louis where he was cramping. But other than that, he's looked good. I think he continues to look very good and very promising. I hope he can close out 5. Is it 5 innings he's at right now?
He has
4.
not gotten to 5 yet.
4. So I think they still want him to close out 4. I think.
Yeah. I think he's got one more at 4 innings is the plan.
Hopefully he can close that out and be efficient with it and look good. I guess that doesn't mean they're going to win, but I think his start gives them a fantastic chance. I think again he has. I wasn't too sure when they started throwing him again, like what we were going to get, or if, and I think they slow played this and downplayed this too, if he would be an option in October. He's absolutely looking like one of the best pitchers on the staff right now. So he's going to be in that rotation. He's a big reason why like I said earlier, if they can get those 4 guys healthy into October, I like their chances.
Yeah. It's interesting. I don't think the Dodgers would ever change things just because of short-term circumstances. But man, after the bullpen had to go through 5 arms last night, Brock Stewart goes down, Enriquez replaces him. I don't know if there's going to be a roster move somewhere to send one guy down and bring a fresh arm up, but it's tough if, like, best case scenario, your starter is giving you 4 tomorrow. Now, a guy like Robleski is available, so maybe they're just planning on Robleski kind of piggybacking, even though Dave said recently that he's kind of been shortened up. Maybe it's, hey, Justin, remember that whole shortened up thing? We might need 4 or 5 from you tomorrow, but it'll be curious to see. The bigger question, though, maybe
Day
Anthony,
off on Thursday, though.
What's that? That's true. That's
Day
true.
off.
It's a good point. And like Enriquez and Dreyer, they threw 12 pitches apiece, and those are younger guys. So even though Enriquez got 4 outs, the fact that he threw 12 pitches, very hard pitches, remains to be seen. But I think there's some availability there. Does Shohei get 5 straight games with the home run in 6 out of the last 7?
Ooh, I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah. Why not? Do the Dodgers win tomorrow, Anthony?
Yes, they win. They win tomorrow. Right. I know I said earlier, like, doesn't guarantee a win, but I do think they win tomorrow.
I love it. I love it. So there you go. Shohei Otani. I'd love to hear from people in the comments below. Let's get a little positive vibes check going on here in the comments below. Do the Dodgers win? Does Shohei Otani throw another gem? How many strikeouts in 4 innings? Does he hit a home run in his 5th straight game? Let us know in the comments below. All right, some Dave Roberts quotes to get you out of here. Asked about Vesia, quote, I think with Alex, obviously the 2 walks, and then they had the 1 intentional walk, but he gets 0-2 to 4-2. He was just missing. I think the Rengifo at bat, he saw 6 straight fastballs and lined one up the middle to put the leadoff guy on. So I don't know. Seems like a sequencing comment there. Again, just throwing that out there, although different catcher that time around. I don't know where his misses are. Obviously, the last few outings haven't been clean or typical of what he's done for us. So we've got to dig into it. It's surprising for him, been inconsistent, but we will work through it. Asked if he feels like things are building up with losses and pressure to get back on track. I don't know. You've just got to play better baseball. We got doubled off in a triple play situation. Just some things we're not helping ourselves by playing good baseball. Tonight, I thought I saw some good things. Enriquez was really good tonight. Emmett found a way to get through 5 innings. Jeez Louise, we are grasping for straws, Dave, if that's a positive. But yeah, we've still got to be better on all fronts. Now it's a new season. You look at the standings. We've just got to play better baseball and find ways to win the games. Asked, how much frustration does frustration mount with losses like this while the lead is gone? How do you avoid spiraling? I just think there's certain things you can kind of manage and control. I don't think we're doing a good enough job of that as far as focusing on the little things that are certainly coming to show as big things that you can control. You really can't control wins and losses, but you can control how you go about it. Like I've said this last 3 weeks or whatever it's been, we just haven't been able to stack good, clean, solid baseball games together. Once we feel like we do, and then we don't. I know we're all frustrated. It's not going to turn by itself. We're going to come back to work tomorrow, try to salvage this series, and find a way to beat these guys this year. We're going to find a way to beat these guys this year, Anthony. That's where we're at with Dave Roberts.
Yeah, and it's the Angels.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. These are the quotes. Anything jump out to you there from Dave before we close this one out?
No, not really. I mean, what's he supposed to say at this point? Yeah. Unless he's going to go full fire and brimstone and start calling guys out by name, which for Dave, he essentially already has. Like,
yeah,
we've
seen that version already.
Yeah. I mean, what's he say? Like, There's really nothing left to be said. These guys are grown men. They know what they are doing wrong. They know what needs to be done better.
Yeah. And again, tonight, it's like, what are you going to crush Alex Vesia, who has a 2.76 ERA and's probably been, one of your two most valuable relievers all year? You're going to crush Emmett Sheehan, who's the young kid that's your number 6 starter that had an off night tonight. Like, those are the two scapegoats. And it's like, it's hard to be too mad at those guys based on what they've given you so far this season. So again, we'll see if the Dodgers wake up tomorrow in a better mood. We'll see if they have some more focus. Maybe we hear about a mysterious players only meeting where there's some shouting and yelling and breaking some things in the Angels clubhouse. Who knows? But Dodgers Angels back tomorrow. Shohei Otani on the bump for the Dodgers, hoping to avoid not just a series sweep, but like a season sweep and end this losing streak. Who knows? Maybe the Dodgers are back in first place in the NL West tomorrow all by themselves. Remains to be seen. We appreciate everybody for hopping in here and joining us. Almost 3,000 people on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter. Thank you to everybody listening via podcast, Apple, Spotify, Google. If you are new, check out the podcast everywhere you can find it, the DodgerHeads podcast. Please subscribe, rate, and review. That does us a huge favor. If you're new to YouTube, of course, subscribe, ring the notification bell. Well over 90,000 subscribers. So thank you to everybody who hopped in and joined us. That is Anthony Witrado. I am Jeff Spiegel. It's a tough loss tonight. It's a tough stretch for the Dodgers, but it's all right. The future is going to be better than right now. I think it's rock bottom. I might be alone in that, but I think it's rock bottom, and I think this team is still going to make some noise in the postseason. So enjoy the rest of your night, everyone. As always, go Dodgers, and you better freaking believe it, tonight of all nights, still freaking champs.